Hey everybody, welcome back to Battle Ready Inc. So I released a Chaosmon deck profile earlier, Machinedramon, and I completely missed a card. I literally helped a friend of mine build this for Ultimate Cup, and I forgot to include one of the most important cards, so I immediately took that video down. Yeah, so we're gonna redo this first thing in the morning. Haven't even had coffee yet, and yeah, we're just gonna rock with it. Let's go. All right, so I've got the deck profile pulled up for you guys so you can follow along with us and see what we're doing. The original list, I did leave off EX3 Chaosmon, which was a huge blunder on my part. I don't even know how I missed this in deck building, but yeah, this card is super busted. He's one of the cards that actually enables the deck like significantly, right? Because he has his all turns when this Digimon would be deleted or returned to the hand or deck, you may trash to level 5 in this Digimon to lose cards to prevent that from leaving play. The other Machinedramon just has DP reduction prevention, and then if it would just be deleted. So this one works for battle or deletion effects, but doesn't work for hand returning to hand or deck, where this one does as in addition to being deleted. So very important to include this into the deck here, Chase, so don't be a dummy. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and rock through this. I did film it last night, but I'm gonna redo it here for you guys. All right, so for our babies here, it's pretty flexible on what we can run. It just kind of depends on personal preference, I would say. Like, they all have their merits. BT15 here, New Black Baby, has the opponent's turn once per turn when a Digimon becomes unsuspended, draw one. Like, this works really nicely for your reboot. So if you want to, use that for your own, but also if your opponent is playing like a super aggro deck like Garurumon, when they're unsuspending, you can draw one off of that as well. It is once per turn though, but still not bad. Pretty easy to trigger. There's also the Sunomon here. Your turn once per turn. When one of your other Digimon digivolves, draw one. Now, how this is relevant is we have these rookies here in the deck, and pretty much for the most part, your rookies will never digivolve into anything higher than that. It could happen. I'm not saying it's not impossible, but for the most part, you're going to be slamming down your EX1 Machinedramons and then evoing like into a Chaosmon or Chaosmon X here. So the digivolving is pretty limited in the deck of how often it happens, but it is at least worth mentioning. And then there's also the EX5 Tokomon on deletion. If it's your turn, draw one. Or sorry, if it's your opponent's turn, draw one. This is really nice if you're running floodgates in the deck. So any kind of floodgate rookies, they sit on the field. You don't attack with them or anything like that. They're just sitting there. If your opponent has to deal with them, right, so that way they can continue their plays, they're going to be trying to delete them. So this Tokomon will come up for floodgates if you decide to run floodgates in the deck. And there's always the classic like Pagumon that on deletion reveal the top card. If it's black, you can add it to hand. But there's a lot of things that we kind of miss with that card, so I went for just the pure draw instead. Next, for our rookies, we have the new Hagurumon here from BT15. Onplay, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 card with machine or cyborg trait and 1 black tamer card among them to your hand. Return the rest to the bottom of the deck. This is huge. Every archetype in this game deserves a searcher rookie, right? An on-play searcher rookie, and Machinedramon finally got it. And this is important because this is one of the few ways that we can actually add the analog man to hand off of a search, because this deck doesn't usually run a whole lot of searching power in the past. But now we have so much consistency in this deck, and that's what makes me want to make this video, is because in BT15 we got all this support that actually makes this deck like really strong. So I'm really here for it. And then inheritable reboot for those rare occurrences where you actually digivolve on top of it. Then we have the EX1, the classic Hagurumon here, the trash 1 machine or cyborg trait and draw 2. This helps get your cards in trash for your Machinedramon plays. So just getting those level 5s in trash for you and then drawing 2 for more consistency. I'm all about it. Now, the next card is an expensive one. Raremon, new promo. This card is also treated as having Cyborg trait. On play or when Digivolving, by trashing one card in your hand, draw two. So same as the Hagiromon, except for this is super generic. You can just trash anything in your hand to draw two. So if you don't have the level 5, you can still play the Raremon. It's one more play cost than the Hagiromon here, so that's not too bad. Or you can Evo for 3 on top of one of those rookies. So it's one less play cost, but you get an additional draw. So that's not too bad there. But you also have one less body. So, kind of take it or leave it on what you would prefer in that moment. So both have their merits, evoing or hard playing. And then when attacking inheritable here, by trashing one card in your hand, delete one of your opponent's level 3 Digimon. Not a bad effect there. Very, very rarely will we ever Digivolve on top of Raremon. Our EX1 support here, they do have when Digivolving search effects. So you could argue evoing those, but that's it, really. There's a few others also in here that we'll talk about as we go, but very rarely will you Digivolve on Raremon. Now, some alternatives to Raremon that you could run is going to be some different rookies for the deck, right? Because this Raremon is incredibly expensive. So if you don't want to drop all that money on it, understandably so. So we've got some rookies down here that we can go ahead and talk about. I've got Chumon, of course, the memory blocker. Always a safe bet to run Chumon in pretty much any deck, stopping the opponent from gaining memory. Anytime you're playing against a blue deck, that's pretty much instant value. And there's just always anything else like memory boost cards, blocking those and lots of other things. So yeah, really nice, solid, generic Floodgate. We also have the Chikurumon here from BT6, the security at the end of battle, D-Digivolve 1. Like, that's just really solid effect right there. Last format was super great for D-Digivolve, right? If you could hit like a Mervamon and D-Digivolve them and all their other stuff loses its rush or blocker that it has, like, that was super strong. So D-Digivolve made a lot of sense then, but even now going forward, I think we're going to be in a big stack deck format, and if you can D-Digivolve their big boss monster down just a single level, you can pretty much usually turn off the rest of their turn. So I think he's pretty valuable. Now, how many you have to run of him to see that value, and getting him in security could be the tricky part, right? That's always the issue with these security Digimon. Next, we got the Kakuamon for BT8. He's awkward, right? All turns, players can't ignore Digivolution requirements. This is more of a meta-dependent card, not something you just run all the time. Just depending on how the format goes, you never know what people might come up with, some kind of crazy trickery, and this guy might actually come back as meta. So just kind of keep that in mind. All right, next up we got Espeon, the promo. On play, reveal the top card of your opponent's security stack. If that card is a Digimon, draw one. Place the revealed card on top of your opponent's security stack face down. Not a bad card here, just getting that knowledge. That security knowledge is just phenomenal, especially if you're playing against something like Setcon, right? And they've got chaos degrades, in the deck somewhere, and that's this deck's biggest weakness, right? Because it doesn't have any protection against it being put in security. So having this available, just that knowledge of being able to, do I swing into it or not? Or do I try to focus on getting it trashed for free? That's really good. And if it's a Digimon card, you just get a free draw off of this guy. Now, the issue is he's another on-play effect here, so he's not really great for Digivolving in the raising area. Next, we got the promo Doremon security rookie here. And this one, I really like a good amount. Security at the end of battle, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a black Digimon card with a play cost 4 or less, you may play it without paying the cost. That's really good. Just a free body on field. Most of our stuff is going to have an on-play effect that can trigger off this. However, add the remaining cards to your hand. Then add this card to your owner's hand. So he's basically a +1 instantly. He gets hit in security, or almost a +2 if you really think about it, because you get to add the card from your deck as well as you add it to hand. And then you can just Evo him in the raising area for another draw. So really like him. Again, though, security Digimon in general are kind of iffy because if they don't end up in security, they're basically like super low value. So it can be a little bit awkward. Next, we had the Sunarisamon promo here. Just a classic, big black stack decks like to run Sunarisamon. Evo him in the raising area, and then you can promote him up. Your turn, all your black Digimon with 13,000 DP or more gain piercing. So we only have piercing as a one of inheritable in this deck, just because I went with a whole lot of different stuff instead of doubling up. Plenty of times you will probably double up on a lot of these effects. And piercing is one of the best ones. So at 13,000 DP, it's really nice to have. So your Chaosmon X's here are already at it. Or if you have, like a DP boosting Digimon underneath these other two guys, then you will be able to trigger the Sunarisamon to give them piercing. He also gets security tech +1 to a black, while this Digimon is black and has 13,000 DP or more. So not a bad inheritable, but again, the chances of you actually evoing from a rookie all the way up into a mega is pretty much non-existent in this deck, just because of the new way that it plays. So not really that great. All right, next we got the blocker Agumon, just a general blocker rookie. You can Evo in raising area, promote it up, and then just block when you need it, protect your stuff, or hard drop it, and it's another defensive tech that your opponent might not be able to count on. But I think this deck has plenty of defensive capabilities just naturally built in, with like the Analog Man and the Reboot Blocker. So I don't think he's all that needed, but I did want to at least mention him. We have the Chikurimon here from the starter deck 13. All turns, players can't reduce play cost. This one was really popular in the past format with dealing with like Mervamon and Anubismon, like super good against Anubismon. But moving forward, I don't think reducing play cost will be as important. As well as it conflicts with our Machinedramon and the new Supreme Connection. So, not running him currently, but you never know. Something like stopping like being able to play Digimon by effect, that's going to be really valuable, I think, moving ahead. But just reducing play costs, not quite as much. So you're not really worried about Death X being played against you in this deck. Next, we got the Solarmon in starter deck 15. On play, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a black card, add it to your hand. Trash the rest. This is really great because it's another one of those like kind of pseudo searcher cards here. If it's a black card, you get to add it to hand. So option, tamer, doesn't matter. You can add it to hand. And then if you reveal one of the very, very few red cards, you get to trash it, which is great because those are our level 5s that we want in trash anyway. So not a bad card as well. So at least worth mentioning. I still think the Haguramons are probably going to be your better bet for your on-play, like sort of consistency pieces like that. And then the last one is the new starter deck 15 Agumon, which I think this one actually could be a serious contender for the deck because it's really nice and generic. Start of your main phase, if your opponent has a Digimon, gain 1 memory. Just that's it. Like super good. Nice little effect there of gaining more bonus memory for us. Easy to Evo and raising, and then you just promote it up, no problem. So yeah, it seems really good and nice and generic. If you don't need to worry about a floodgate or some interesting tech or security Digimon or something, like I think he's a really solid go-to fill-in piece for your deck because you're not going to really Evo on top of him much, but in case you do, he is inheritable here. Is all turns once per turn when an attack target is switched, gain 1 memory, and we do plenty of that. So if you do decide to Evo on top of him with one of your level 4s, you can then use his inheritable to possibly steal your opponent's turn from them, which could be more valuable than the gain 1 at the start of your turn. So I think the Agumon's definitely one to keep an eye out if you don't want to invest in the Raremon here. Next up, for our other level 4, though, we have Hover Espeon. On play or when Digivolving, reveal the top card of your opponent's security stack. If it was a Digimon card, gain 1 memory. So the Evo cost is a 1 or the play cost is a 4 in that instance. If it's a non-Digimon card, draw 1. Place the revealed card at the top or bottom of your opponent's security stack face down. Again, having that knowledge is incredibly valuable. If you reveal something that's like a huge threat and you have no way of dealing with it anytime soon, then you may consider, putting it to the bottom of their security stack so that way they don't have access to it for quite some time. Say you're playing against an Apocalypmon deck that only has one Apocalypmon. You reveal it, Well, I guess that would be a non-Digimon. But so if like it's a loan key or it's something that plays Digimon for free out of trash, like an option card or a tamer, right? You just send it to the bottom of their security, so they're not going to have, you know, good value on it for a long time. Now, the part that makes me actually want to run this card, though, is all turns while there's a tamer, just while there's a tamer, like not on your side or your opponent's side, anywhere. As long as there's a tamer, this Digimon gains blocker and can't be deleted by your opponent's effects. This is just really good. It's another blocker source, sure. So if you don't want to like waste your Machinedramon or Chaosmon blocks on like little fodder, right? That's just kind of trying to bait you. You can go ahead and block it with the Hover Espeon. And then also can't be deleted by your opponent's effects. This is really great when your opponent plays or uses effects like delete the lowest play cost or delete the lowest DP, and they're trying to use that to kill your big stack, right? Granted, both of our megas have like really great protection against it, but if you ever seen something, there was a feature match before in the past where someone used a Death X because they had a whole bunch of analog mans in they had a Machinedramon and Hover Espeon sitting on field. Well, not Machinedramon, but it was like one of the higher ends, and so they de-digivolved it down. This one was just hard played, so they couldn't de-digivolve it, and then every time the opponent's turn would end, the Death X would try to pop, right? But it would always have to target the Hover Espeon because it was the lowest thing on field, and Hover Espeon just like blocked it and blocked it and blocked it for like 3 turns. This Hover Espeon just took the hits of the Death X. So really, really valuable card in just multiple situations. I like the genericness of it. It's like multiple uses out of it. So that's a really great card for me. All right, getting into our level 5s here. This is kind of like the bread and butter of most of these deck profiles. So what are we working with? We have the new BT15 Megadramon here. When attacking once per turn, de-digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon. I already talked about how good de-digivolve is, and this is kind of the same thing. It's just when attacking, we can de-digivolve something, which is really great in combination with something like our Metal Greymon that lets us attack unsuspended. We have Piercing. We have when an opponent's Digimon is deleted by battle, we can trash the security, right? So being able to de-digivolve a big threat that we couldn't normally get over, and now we can, like this, we'll see good value, I think for sure. Next, we got our EX1 package here. This is probably going to be one of the few when digivolving effects we actually talk about here. You may reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 level 6 Digimon card with Machine in its trait among them to your hand. Trash the remaining cards. So this is a great way to dig for your megas. If you don't have your megas, this is a good way to get into them in an emergency, as well as it trashes everything else. So you could trash other level 5s, so that's really good value. And then he gives the blocker inheritable here. There's plenty of blocker inheritables that you can choose from, as well as Reboot here, which is the Metal Tyrannomon, but he has that when digivolving effect as well. So usually I don't like to go over 2 blockers and 2 Reboot inheritables. They're very easy to access in this deck. And the deck already has Analog Man, right? Which is a great defensive tech. So what I was kind of leaning towards more for this build was I wanted more aggressive inheritables. The deck is just naturally defensive across the board. So I want inheritables that allow me to be more aggressive in the deck. We've got the Metal Mamemon, which is when attacking, if this Digimon has Machine in its traits, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a play cost 5 or less. Just a great way to deal with, like, floodgates or just chaff that's in your way. So they got, some low play cost blockers, just go ahead and clear them out. So that way you can swing over their big threats that you want to actually clear. So solid card here. He's the only one that does what he does. So there's a few of these in here that they're the only way you can get some of these effects, and you might double up on them in certain situations. If you want to cut out other things like maybe security attack +1, you could double up on some of these other more control-y cards. We have the Reboot Andromon here. Also, when digivolving, de-digivolve 1. So not too bad there. A little bit flexible. We have the starter at 15 Metal Greymon, who gives just security attack +1. Super generic. You don't have to qualify for it. You just get it as long as you're evoed on top of it, as well as blocker in case like an emergency situation comes up where you need just to slam this body on field or evo him and get that blocker. We have the Machinedramon from Starter Deck 15, who's just a generic, gives blocker, inheritable, so we don't have to worry about qualifying for it. We can just get it no matter what we're running. So that's our blockers and our reboots, so 2 and 2. And then the rest here is going to be kind of more tech cards. We have Machinedramon from BT8, just a fantastic card. Another when Digivolving, Digivolve 1, but then this one also delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less, where the other Digivolves were just, that's it, that's all they did. This one also gives you a pop. And then your turn, while this Digimon has Dragonkin or Machine in its traits, it can also attack your opponent's unsuspended Digimon. This is going to be really great in certain matchups, like you have like the Fangalong matchup, where you really want to kill that Fangalong because it can be a super big nuisance, as well as if you're playing against like an alliance deck and they're using the Mother D Reaper tech, then you can just go ahead and swing over that Mother D Reaper so they can stop getting value out of that. So yeah, a pretty good card. This is another one that a lot of people double up on, and for understandably so, because it is very strong, very control heavy card. And especially if you have stuff like piercing or like your metal Tyrannomons that you're going to just trash security for free because you killed a Digimon, so you're going to get just as much value as attacking security as you would attacking over a body. So the Machinedramon, super good for that. We also have the BT9 Machinedramon here. When Digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers with play cost 3 or less. Not too bad. Depending on the deck that you're playing against, deleting Tamers can be huge. So the when attacking, if this Digimon has Machine or Dragonkin in its traits, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with or Tamers with a play cost 3 or less. If you're playing against something like a Crossheart and you delete their Taiki, like that's almost like a game over for them, right? Because like that's kind of their bread and butter, and if they're not running like the Trio Tamer, then yeah, the deck just instantly auto loses, I feel like, because then they can't use their saves cards under their Tamers anymore for crossing. So yeah, they just kind of lose at that point. So this is really valuable in certain matchups. Depending on how the meta goes, it can become more or less valuable. If there's a lot of foreplay cost Tamers, then it's going to lose value, of course. But also just the popping a 3 play cost or less rookie, always, it's pretty solid. Another one of those that, depending on the format, you may run more or less of. Next up, we got the Metal Tyrannomon, which is a classic. The inheritable here, all turns. Once per turn, when this Digimon deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. That's just really good for control, as well as if you're playing in the Setcon matchup and you don't want to swing into their security, clearing it out through other means is really powerful. We also have When Digivolving and Onplay. For each green or black tamer you have in play, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. Then one of your opponent's suspended Digimon can't unsuspend during your opponent's next unsuspend phase. So in case of emergency, if you do need a Digivolve or play this guy, and you have your analog mans, you can suspend something and then just kind of stun it out and get an extra turn, right? Now we have the new Rapidmon out of the Starter Deck 17, which comes out today at the time of recording and hopefully release, if I can get it uploaded fast enough, on play and with Digivolving, Digivolve 1. So again, another Digivolve target. The rest doesn't matter because it's Green Tamers dependent. But the inheritable here is the same as Metal Tyrannomon. So all turns, once per turn, when this Digimon deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle, trash the top card of their security stack. So no more do we have to double up on Metal Tyrannomon to get this effect, which is huge, right? Because anytime you have to double up, you increase the likelihood of bricking, because all of your level 5s that you choose have to be a different name. What name and number? I think it's a different number, right? With a different card number, right? So you can't double up on those, so it can be kind of bricky. The more you double up, the more likelihood that you brick. So now we don't have to worry about doubling up on these guys anymore, which is great. Now you could, I guess, still double up on both of them and just go super heavy into that strategy. Next, we have the Machinedramon, the secret rare from BT1 all the way back. Gives a plus 3000 DP during your turn. In certain matchups, this is like a must-have clutch card. Again, going back to the Mother D Reaper conversation, being able to swing over that, you're going to need this card, right? So, because you're going to need that to bump up your Chaosmons or your Chaosmon X. Chaosmon, you'll match it, which is okay because you can protect yourself from deletion. So you can crash into it and then just immediately protect yourself. Next, we've got the Machinedramon from EX1, another classic for this deck here. On play, delete 2 of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less. So if they're doing like a rookie rush shenanigans against you and they've only got 2 rookies, you can hard drop this and clear them out. Especially if it's like Ukamon Rush, right? And you really don't want to deal with that. And then this could save you for another turn. But also inheritable here, while this Digimon has Machine in its traits, it gains Security Attack +1. We have several Security Attack +1s in this because, like I said, we're going for a more aggressive inheritable lineup for us because we're already defensive just naturally. So went super, super aggro on our effects here. We also have the Metal Greymon from EX1. This one is the one that gives piercing. And this is another example of one of those cards that this is the only way to get this effect, so you may consider doubling up on it, especially in a build like this, which is super aggressive. The piercing will see even more value. And then when attacking, when this Digimon attacks a player, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 4000 DP or less. So that could be useful, but probably not. We also have the Volcanomon rounding out our list here. Blocker, just like some other cards that we've had, and then Security Attack +1 generic qualifier. So one more aggressive inheritable here. Plenty of times, if the 3 Security Attack pluses cards, the 3 separate ones is too much, you could drop one of them down and then double up on one of your other cards, like your Metal Greymons here, or your Piercing, right? So whatever you kind of value more, you could probably drop one of these Security Attack +1s, if you so choose. Next, we have the Man of the Hour that brings this whole deck together, that started this archetype out, like, as its main theme. On play, you may place up to 5 level 5 red and or black cards with Cyborg in their traits with different card numbers from your hand or trash in the Digimon's Digivolution cards to gain 1 memory for each card placed. So making him a 7 play cost if you add back 5. Keep in mind, to play this guy though, you have to be at least at 2 memory. If you're at 1 or 0 memory, you cannot play him because you don't have enough to. You have to play the full 12 first and then gain 5 back. It's not reduced play cost. But don't worry, Supreme Connection will save us moving forward when we get there. And then all turns, this Digimon's DP can't be reduced. So this is very good in like a vaccine matchup, which does a ton of DP minusing. So you'll see really great value there. And then all turns, when this Digimon would be deleted, you may trash 2 level 5 Digimon in this Digimon's Digivolution cards to prevent this Digimon from being deleted. That was the original, like that was fine. But moving forward, we need more protection than that. And then we're going to get back to the Chaosmon, which I missed in my initial video like an idiot. So here we are again. His all turns, when this Digimon would be deleted or returned to your hand or deck, you may trash 2 level 5 cards in this Digimon's Digivolution cards to prevent that from it leaving play. That's just even better, right? That's what you're going to need, is going to have even more protection. Now, you're still suffering from like Chaos deck, that sort of thing, or Lone Key, or like being put underneath Tamers. So just kind of, though that's the nature of the beast sometimes with this deck, is it does have some hard counters, which is very unfortunate. And then on play or when digivolving, you're going to evo for 1 on top of your Machinedramons. You may place up to 3 red or black level 5 cards with Cyborg in their traits and different card numbers from your hand or trash under this Digimon as its bottom of the Digivolution card to de-digivolve one of your opponents for each card placed. So you can de-digivolve 3 on one of your opponent's Digimon, which again, we've already talked about how powerful de-digivolve can be, and if we can do 3 on like their big stack, that's going to be absolutely huge, especially just evoing for 1, so we probably keep turn after we do that. Pretty good. Now, I do have 2 Chaosmon X's in here just because I find them really, really valuable. Start of your main phase, place 1 Digimon card with the Cyborg or Machine trait from your trash as the bottom Digivolution card of this Digimon. So you could even grab back like a Machinedramon or a Chaosmon with this effect. It's not just locked into your level 5 targets. And then all turns, this Digimon gains all effects of Machinedramon and Chaosmon in this Digimon's Digivolution cards. That includes their on-plays or when Digivolving. So if you Evo into him, you can then trigger your when Digivolving from your Chaosmon. And then also he's going to have all the protection abilities. So the DP minusing, the being removed from the field, he's going to have all of those effects there, which is going to be really valuable. And then at start of main phase, you can just continuously, trigger all of these effects and stuff like that, which is going to be really valuable to like you're trashing your level 5s, and normally once you run out, you can't protect the stack anymore. But this guy, he's just going to repeatedly grab back cards and then keep his protection effects alive, as well as grab back the cards that you need for the situation you're in. He's really flexible on that. It's like, oh, I need blocker, or I need to be able to attack unsuspended Digimon. Let me grab that out of my trash. So, really good. And then all turns, once per turn when this Digimon would be deleted, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. So even better there, because not only are we can prevent that deletion, but when it would be deleted, that's the key phrase there. When it would be deleted, you'll trash this, or you'll activate this effect to trash their security, and then you use your protection effects to keep it alive. So yeah, super good card. Next, we have the Analog Man here, which, helps really bring this deck together because it's a big stack deck that has no way of getting like multiple blockers, right? So this is how we can mitigate and keep yourselves alive. Start of your main phase by trashing one level 5 card with Cyborg and its traits in your hand, gain 1 memory and draw 1, so nice little consistency and memory gain. And then opponent's turn, when an opponent's Digimon attacks a player, by suspending this tamer, switch the target of attack to one of your level 6 Digimon with machine and its traits there. So it's going to be all of your level 6 there. So getting multiple Analog Mans on field in this deck actually makes sense, unlike other decks where they play out their 1 4-play cost tamer and then they just sit on that one and it does everything they need. This deck, though, the more Analog Mans you have, the better off you will be. So we run 4 of him, and we don't feel bad playing extras. Now we have the new Supreme Connection from BT15. 3-play cost main, or reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. Among them, add 1 card with machine or cyborg trait to your hand and trash 1 such card. Return the rest to the top of the deck, then place this card in the battle area. I wish it was top or bottom of the deck just for that flexibility. Like the new D-Brigade Digipolice Commandramon has that effect. So why couldn't this card as well? But that's okay. We do get to add a card to hand, and we get to put one in trash, which we like to see, and it's a reveal 5, so it's a nice big dig. And then he's also delay. You may play 1 level 5 or higher Digimon card with machine or cyborg trait from your hand with a play cost reduced by 3. So now our Machinedramons are 9 play cost, gaining us 5 memory back, so it's only a 4 play cost essentially off our Machinedramons, which is crazy to think about, that we get 5 of these crazy good inheritables on a mega for 4 memory. Like, that's so good. As well as, like, keep in mind, it says you can do the level 5s also, machine or cyborg. So if you have, your on-play guys here, so this is a 4 play cost, pop 2 rookies, right? So we have our Metal Tyrannomons, 5 play cost now to use his effect. We got some good on-plays here that could be valuable also in an emergency situation. You really want to save your Supreme Connection just for your Machinedramons, but hey, when times are tough, you got to do what you got to do. Next, we have the Attack of the Heavy Mobile Digimon. This is basically our hybrid for game for the deck, right? It's a 0 play cost. You may trash 1 card with Cyborg or Machine in its traits in your hand to have all of your level 6 Digimon with Machine and their traits gain Rush, and on play, if this Digimon has a Digivolution card, Blitz. So this in conjunction with Machinedramon in hand, you hard play the Machinedramon, and then you source 1 thing back underneath, and as long as you source at least 1 card, 1 inheritable, you can immediately blitz and rush with it. So this is our hybrid for game in the deck, without actually having to worry about running hybrids and breaking up our deck. And then the security effect is actually great, because security, you may trash 1 card with the cyborg or machine in its traits in your hand to delete one of your opponent's Digimon whose play cost is less than or equal to the trash card's play cost. So depending on, very flexible card on what we need to trash, we have a slew of level 5s that we would prefer to trash. if we're just popping small stuff. But in case we do need to pop big stuff, we could trash one of our level 6s here as well to pop something big. So really flexible card depending on the situation, which I like. I like being able to pick that. And that works exactly the same for Super Eradication here. The security effect is exactly the same, but the main effect here, so while you have a level 6 Digimon with machine trait in play, you may use this card without meeting its color requirements. So if you just have like a Machinedramon, you'll be okay. You can still use this. And then main, choose one of your Digimon with a machine or cyborg trait, delete that Digimon and one of your opponent's Digimon with DP less than or equal to that Digimon's DP. So 2 play cost, pretty much like an immediate delete anything you want, especially if you have the Metal Greymon from BT1 underneath that gives that 3k. These guys are going to be absolutely massive. And then you just use their protection effects. That's what's so busted about this is like, oh, you're going to delete your stack that you worked so hard to get out? Well, not really. I'm going to use their protection effect and keep them alive. And then you just lose your big Digimon and I don't lose anything. And then in conjunction with like a Chaosmon X here, when he would be deleted, you could just trash a security there. So like surprise upset, right? So your opponent's at one security and they've got like one guy on field that's like their blocker that's going to keep them alive, and you're just like, okay, super eradication attack, delete my Chaosmon X, delete your guy, okay, I protect mine and trash your security and kill your big blocker. Now I just swing for game. Like really, really good card here. We're just running it as a 2 of though. We don't want to get too like cloggy with these type of effects here, but good to have just in an emergency situation. And then last we have Congo. I think Congo is still an incredible card if you're playing a black deck. Really easy include in pretty much any black deck that you're playing. Until the end of your opponent's turn, your opponent's Digimon with play cost 7 or less can't attack players, and cards can't be added to security stacks by opponent's effects. That last bit is like a death sentence for not just Setcon, but Vaccine, right? Because they're always like, promote up, Evo for free with our Patamon, add the top card of security to hand, place what we need underneath, tons of stuff like that. So having this kind of card just like completely impact them like so detrimentally is hilarious, honestly. Especially if you're trying to like build up this deck's big weaknesses, sometimes it takes some turns to build up and ramp up into our big stacks, but once we get those big stacks on board, usually we're fine. Like there's nothing else to worry about. It's just how fast can we get up into those level 6s. And so sometimes you just need an extra turn, and then the Congo is going to be really great for that. Even 2 back to back is really good. And the security effect also applies here. So if they're going, say they're building up for that big turn, right? The way you can kind of counter Machinedramon, Chaosmon decks is you get a really big wide board, right? It's like, okay, well, you can redirect 3 and block 1, but you're at 2 security and I've got 7 Digimon. And then they just start swinging, right? And you're just like, okay, block, redirect, redirect, redirect. All right, now you're going to actually start hitting security. First check, Congo. Like, oh my God. So frustrating. Because I've been there. I've been on the receiving end of that exact play. And it is very, very frustrating to swing into a Congo in security, especially after you just lost several of your Digimon to Analog Mans and Blocker. But that is the deck. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I know it's a bit of a long one, but I really needed to go back and redo this to include the EX3 Chaosmon because, yeah, that definitely helps.